Hi there everybody, and welcome to another video. On today's video I have this VW Passat. This is a 2009 model, and basically the other day customer was driving it, and it had an overheating sign on the dash. First it was showing low coolant, and then it was showing overheating, so he stopped the car, let it cool down, and drove home, and dropped it off today for me to have a look at what may have happened. So having had a look, I got the car running until it got to normal temperature, about 90, and let it run for another, I don't know, 10-15 minutes. And then I started to see some water dripping out of there. So you can see that bit there is wet, and it was physically dripping a bit of coolant from there. That pretty much shows me there's some coolant leaking out of the radiator, because this thing here is the radiator. So far what I've done is order a new radiator. So the next thing will be to remove this radiator out of here and try to obviously we'll have to replace it. So on this video I'm gonna be removing this radiator. So if you're looking for a similar situation, if you had an overheating engine or something like that, then the first thing you want to check is your coolant level. If that is low, then coolant has to be disappearing somewhere, and in this case you can't really see where this leak immediately. It takes a while. It takes for the car to be at operating temperatures for that to start leaking. Otherwise it doesn't. So if you were to just have a look at this area without running the car, it will look like there's no leaks anywhere. A little bit deceiving really. Also, technically the antifreeze, which is of sort of orange color, normally would show, but in this case it hasn't really shown or come up as a mark or anything like that. So this area here, this bit here, has a cover, which is this cover here. And you can see this side is also a little bit wet there, and that side there, that side on right hand side there, it actually is this side here, and you can also see this area here wet. So I think just the coolant leaking from there is running down and running here as well. That there is a bit of coolant, and this here is coolant, but obviously there's a bit missing here. I don't know what's happened there, but it's broken, as you can see. Okay, so far I removed that, and the next thing I'm going to remove, it's the fans here. I already undone these retaining screws. They are of a size, let's have a look, it's a T30. So you will have 4 of these screws, and they are, like I said, T30. There will be one sitting just here, another one there which is still there. I have to remove that one, and there'll be 2 at the top, which again I already undone. And then this connection here we want to take it out of this. We really want to disconnect this plug here, so you need to push this red clip. This red clip will be sitting down here. You want to push it up in order to allow you to press the clip and release this section. So I'm gonna have to do that in a minute with my two hands. So once the clip is back, you can press this little black inner clip there, which is then going to release this from this, and then you can pull it apart. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and also remove these, and then this whole thing will pretty much be loose. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. Okay, so once you remove those 4 Torx screws, this will just that will just undisconnect the plug, obviously, wherever that is. I've thrown it somewhere. Oh yeah, up here. That part will drop down, and then it will get stuck on the sides, so you just need to sort of maneuver it out a little bit, and it will come out this way down. And another thing, that cover there, that cover is just held in again by some Torx, I think T20s, something like that, or T25s. So that one is easy to remove as well. There will be one there as well. Not difficult to remove, that little cover. And I sort of removed this intercooler pipe here, just to give me a little bit of a better view of this area. But you may want to pull it out to give you a bit more room to take the radiator. Now we need to drain the system. I had the car running, so my coolant may be a little bit hot, but I will try to get this coolant out very carefully. So I'm going to release this hose here, and these hoses usually are held in by a clip similar to this one. So this clip, you just pull it back, and then you can pull the hose out. Same thing here, where this clip, you pull it out, and then this will come out. Sometimes it's easier said than done because the rubber around it can get a little bit stuck. So we can help ourselves with maybe a flathead screwdriver and push there against this area of the radiator to get the hose out, and hopefully drain the system from that end. So I am going to do that now. This radiator also has another set of Torx. So one there, you can just about see it. One Torx screws there, another one at the top, and again another one on this side, and another one at the top. So we are gonna need to release those in order to remove this radiator. So let's drain the system first. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, it's coming out a bit like a shower, but I'm managing to collect most of it. Not that I'm going to reuse it, but just wanted to show you. So again, all I did is pull the clip, that little clip up, and then pull this hose out of there. So to be honest, it wasn't really stuck or anything. It was fairly easy to pull out. So so now that that is out, we can maybe undo the two. I think we can undo the screws from down here, which they also look to be T30s. Okay, so yes, that there is a T30 screw. I'm using this tiny little ratchet to get in there because it's a lot easier and less dramatic. I mean, I am hoping this radiator will actually come out just by losing those screws there. I have a feeling I did one before on a Golf, and it was a similar arrangement. So technically, I don't think the whole front end needs to come out. But who knows? I'm not sure at the moment because, oh no, yeah, maybe not. That already feels loose there. Because sometimes the designs of these things are really shocking. Some are extremely simple and then some are extremely complicated. Right, so I have the other little screw is just sitting somewhere here. Okay, I've got my light up there and that's where the screw is. So I'm just going to undo that now. So obviously if you were sure you had an issue with your radiator, then you can just follow the steps to change it. If you were trying to find out whether the leak is from the radiator or not, then you could obviously do the same sort of check I did, where I ran the car for a while. Basically what I wanted to do is get the car running until the fans came on, because once the fans come on, you can the coolant will run through the radiator, and then if the leak is in the radiator, then it will start leaking. However, in my case, as soon as the pressure went up a little bit with the heat, it started leaking. I didn't have to wait until the fans came on. The leak just started. So all I had to do is obviously then stop the car and concentrate on removing this radiator. But hopefully once I get it out, we should be able to see there has to be some sort of crack or something along this side of the radiator, and then we can obviously confirm we have the leak on the radiator. So now I have the two screws out. I am going to concentrate on the top, remove the two screws from the top, and also the hose that I need to, the coolant hose that is at the top. So looking at the car from the top here, you will find one of the screws. Just let's get some light, just there. That's one of the Torx right next to the radiator there, and the other one will be more sort of towards the center. So this one is a little bit below, sitting a bit below. You can just about see it there, which I already undone as well. So the other thing here will be to take that hose out, and again, same principle, pull this clip out. Okay, it's not meant to come out like that. Now I have to find it. You see, that is part of the job, losing the clips and then spend 2 hours looking for it. But of course on the video you only have to look at it, you only see the good parts. Nevertheless, if you were using two hands, you can pull that little clip and it will just remain in there. You don't really have to take it out, and then you can pull this hose out. So we're gonna do that now. So before I proceed to remove that hose, you will find that this cover here, this is sitting there, so it's kind of on the way. This is held in by two Torx screws, just one there and the one on this side, and then as you pull this upwards, it will just come out of this. The Torx screws for that are, I think they're T20s or T25s, something like that. And then obviously remove that cover, because that will give you better access to this section here where you need to remove the Torx screw, and obviously you want to take this hose out. And for those of you who are very concerned about the clip that went missing, I found it, and it didn't take me 2 hours, luckily. It just took me a few minutes. So that was lucky. Normally I would have to spend a bit longer. So with something like this, you can help yourself open this pipe, but ideally you want to use again your two hands, because if I pull on this end, I'm sort of exerting some force on this end, but I'm not on this side, so that can damage things on this side. So ideally I want to hold it with one hand to make sure when I'm doing that, I keep the pressure on both ends, so it will come out in a smooth way. And the plane that just went past, I missed it. It sounded like a Spitfire or something like that. Just amazing. Can never get over the sound of those engines. Okay, that is out. There is a little O-ring inside of these things, that's why they get a little bit stuck. But anyway, that came out, and now we can also take the little screw out from here. And we have also the other screw to take out from this end, which already I already loosened, but I didn't take it out. I can't really undo it by hand. I'll have to do use the tool here. So let's take this one out. Okay, there it is. And technically these radiators should be loose and sort of ready to come out. Whether it comes upwards or downwards, I'm not sure. There's a lot of space to go down, so let's try to bring it down. Just taking this dust cover out might actually be a little bit easier to pull it out without it, and it looks at the moment like I might have to pull it upwards. So that did come upwards. And we might have to wait for this area to dry to see if we can spot any cracks or anything like that. But to be honest, I didn't see any leaks from up here. The leak was from down here. So it could be that there is a separation somewhere here, or the crack could be a little bit more inside where we can't really see it. So on that note, also, I don't know if we can just make out the part number from here. Looks like that says 1K0121253L. But that's obviously a VW part. The one I'll probably be getting, it's Nissan or Bosch or something like that. I'm not sure yet what they're gonna bring me. So that's pretty much it regarding removing the radiator here. The next step will be get it back in, which, as you can see, is not really, it wasn't that difficult to take it out. And then obviously we need to top up with coolant. We'll put the coolant probably around, I don't know, 4 liters or so. And then we have to run the engine really until it gets hot and the fans come on and the coolant runs along our new radiator, and also we get hot air inside of the car, because there will be obviously air in the system. And once that is circulating everywhere, then we have to check the coolant again, and then top it up as necessary. You can see on this cover, on this container here, it says G12. So G12, it's the coolant that we're going to be using. The orange is sort of an orange color, red, orange, I don't know. But as stated there, use G12. Right, so let's get the new radiator. So here we have the new radiator. That radiator, it's that make NRF. I think that's the part number there, but obviously make sure you get the correct part for your own vehicle, as this may differ depending on engine size and whatnot. This is 2-liter TSI petrol, as stated on the title anyway, but if you're doing it for a 1.6 or whatever, it could be slightly different, it could be the same. So when you get your bits, make sure you get them by your chassis number or your registration number. And now, like I said, refitting this is just a matter of reversal of removal. So we're gonna slide this radiator down into that hole and secure it with some of the screws, before connecting any of the pipes. Okay, got the radiator in there. Just slide it down carefully, as these little fins here can bend a little bit. They're very delicate. They just have to touch something and then they they bend a little bit. But they let obviously air go through, so just be a little bit careful with those. Then I already put 2 of the securing Torx screws. Now I'm gonna put the 2 at the bottom and then tighten those. Literally don't over tight those because they're just going into plastic, which is why I'm gonna be using one of these tiny little ratchets, not a big one. So make sure you don't round those, otherwise they won't be secured. So I'll go ahead and do that now, and then gonna get the car up so we can fit the fans. And another little thing is when we connect the coolant pipes, I'm gonna put a little bit of white grease on the connection, either on that bit or in the O-ring that's in here, so it slides nicely and it doesn't get forced or damaged when we push it in, just to avoid any potential leaks from there. Okay, so I've got the 2 screws in there securing the radiator. I managed to just put the one at the bottom there as well from here. Not difficult to reach. Same on this side. Just managed to get the little screw. It's hiding underneath or just behind the hose. That hose point there. Also, I got a little bit of grease in here, so this should slide nicely and easily in there, and then we can secure it with our clip. Okay, got the clip in there, so just put it on and then make sure this is secure and it won't come out. So that's it. So same procedure for the bottom, only I'm gonna do it with the car up, so I can put a little bit of grease around the O-ring. Okay, so let's get this car up now. Also, don't forget to put this little cover. This cover goes in between. It, well, basically kind of covers the radiator, so that goes all the way in there, and then you have to plug it into position. So I'm just gonna fiddle with that now, make sure it's secure. Okay, so I can't really fit this cover because it will not secure into position, because this radiator is slightly different design up here. This cover here doesn't allow us to plug this bit in. That is one of the things I don't like about aftermarket parts. They don't always make them exactly as the genuine part, and then you can't fit certain bits. Like, so I mean, obviously this isn't the most essential thing in the world, but I normally like to fit everything back where it belongs. So I'm a little bit disappointed with that design there. I didn't really notice it, but if I remove this plastic cover here, then I just have the little fins exposed. It's not like the old Radiator that has a metal cover on it. So that is a little bit disappointing. So make sure whatever make you get, maybe get a better make than that I got. Possibly Bosch or something else. Obviously this one must be a lot cheaper. However, I don't know what its quality will be like. Nevertheless, we'll just carry on. So I'm gonna fit the fans now, and I think the fans came out from underneath, but before I want to fit the hose, the bottom hose, and get the fans on, and then get the intercooler hose in as well. Okay, so got a little bit of grease on that, same as above, so I can push this pipe in there. The clip on this one is already on, so we can push this in. And I don't know, I may need my 2 hands, but because it can be a little bit hard to push it in when the clip is on. So I may just open the clip again a little bit and push that on. Okay, 2 hands, a lot easier to push that in. And also I did pull the clip out a little bit. That really helps. So that is in. Just make sure you can't pull it out again, so that way you know it's clicked in properly. And then we can get our fans on and secure them. So again, I will go ahead and do that. It's not rocket science. Wiggle the fans through here and then secure them on the sides with the Torx screws. Got the fans on. I haven't fully secured the screws there, so this can move a little bit, just so I can make sure I can put the 2 screws at the top, and then we can secure them. Also I got the plug in there, and we want to obviously clean whatever coolant is around, because when we test for leaks again, we don't want to be seeing old coolant around. That may confuse matters. Also we can connect the intercooler back in there, lock it into position, and that's the other little screw in there. Again, it's not fully secured, but everything is on. The radiator hoses are on, and like I said, just clean any coolant that may be visible. That way, when we're testing, we don't have to be concerned about all leaks. So because I'm gonna get some coolant into this now and start running the engine, so it starts warming up while I finish putting these screws at the top. So I'm going to lower the car now, and make sure you get your plug in there properly as well. It will click once it's locked in, and then push the little red clip on there. Right, so before, again, I'm not gonna put this cover back on yet, that cover, so we can check for leaks. until I'm satisfied there's no leaks. That cover is not going back in there. So let's get the car down. Okay, I got my screws securing the fans up here, and now I got my antifreeze. This is ready mixed, G12 as written in there. So I'm gonna pour this in there. I think there's about 4 liters in here. This car may take about 5 liters, but most likely not all the coolant came out anyway. So we're gonna get as much as we can in there, and then I'm gonna start the car, and for sure that's gonna go down, and then we're gonna need to top it up again. So I really need my funnel here. Well, if I can use 2 hands, I don't need a funnel. So the amount of antifreeze I'm using here is 50-50, so 50% antifreeze, 50% water. Now depending where you live, really, you might need, if you're obviously in the North Pole, where the temperatures are minus 40, you will need a lot more antifreeze, maybe 90% and 10% water. And again, if you're in a much hotter country, maybe it'll be more of a 30% coolant, antifreeze, and 70% water. But you definitely want to have antifreeze in there, because it's got certain minerals and whatnot to prevent corrosion of the cylinder head and other parts. Okay, so almost the whole 4 liters went in there already. And now I'm going to start the car and let it run and see how that goes. Obviously you have to monitor this, make sure it's always at the correct level as the car gets hot, because we don't want any overheating going on or anything like that. And also, if you notice any leaks, obviously we might have to stop the car and see what's happening. But now I'm going to start the car. And so this is going to take a little while, really. So I'm going to let the car run until it gets really warm. Ideally what I want is the fans to come on, thermostat to open, fans to come on, and make sure the whole system is working. And also we're going to switch the interior heater, so make sure we have hot air coming out inside the car. Because that way we know there's no air in the system. As you can see at the moment, the coolant warning is on until it detects there is coolant running around. That will be on. So I'm just gonna get that on hot and let it run until you get hot air coming out. But like I said, make sure you're monitoring constantly, because you don't want the car to overheat. Okay, so when I started the car, this got completely empty, so I have to top it up. Just topped it up above the max. So there's 2 lines there. There's a minimum line and a maximum line there, and that's how I topped it up with here. This is fine anyway. Once because our radiator is empty, so once the radiator starts working, that will go down anyway. And been running this for a few minutes, not long really. The air coming out of here is still not really hot, so we expect it to be fairly hot. So it's really a waiting game. I want the temperature to get to 90 there. Another thing is the little flashing red light there will carry on flashing unless you switch off the car and switch it on again, so it resets. So anyway, I have to get it to 90 and obviously a little bit above 90 so the fans come on. Usually you can't really see the difference there, but another thing is also make sure you keep an eye on the hoses that we connected here. So make sure these hoses are not leaking. Coolant will be running up to a certain point, but it won't be going through the radiator as such. But just make sure those hoses are not leaking as you go along. So the temperature is at 90. You can see that. And the air coming in here now is quite hot. I can feel it, which is what we want. I just got the car running at 2000 revs. Hurry up the process a little bit. I got that thing down there pressing the accelerator. And like I said, as we go along, want to make sure there's no leaks, any coolant leaks. Want to make sure your coolant here is still up there, and we are waiting for the fans to come on. Okay, so the fans are on now. The fans are on, and now the coolant is going to run through the radiator and cool the, obviously you have to cool it down, and that is kind of settling at that point there. But just want to get the fans going on one more time, and so far I can't see any leaks anymore. So once I get the fans going one more time, I'm going to switch the car off, get the car up. There we are. Fans are on. Make sure all is good in here. Temperature is 90. So no overheating, and the air in here is really hot. That's what we want. It's really hot in here, so there's no bubbles or air trapped in the system. So now the fans are off now again, and now I'm going to switch off the car. Okay, as you may have noticed, I put this cap on because the coolant was coming up a little bit, so I didn't want it spilling out and then not knowing where that is coming from. Right, so now we can check underneath. So got the car up, and looking from underneath, there is nothing leaking at all. So before I had a leak coming from this end here, just there, and also I think it was running from there all the way down onto here, because I could see coolant on this end as well, there and there. But now it's all dry, which is good news. And obviously the whole system is running okay now. and there are no obvious leaks anymore. So on the previous radiator, if you look closely on the fins, I may actually show you, there's some corrosion from where the coolant was coming out from. Let's have a look at that. Okay, so I don't know, it might be a little bit difficult to show you, but this is the old radiator, and in there on the side you can just about see the corrosion of these fins, and these are connected to this side where the coolant goes in, and obviously the water coolant travels along these like rails, and as it travels along there, you have the fans here. The fans take the heat away from the coolant, and then that coolant goes back into the engine. So that's more or less how this works. But obviously the leak I had was just from there, and you could see it coming out down here, and some of it running along there down. Okay, so I'm confident there's no more leaks around there, so I got this cover back on. Now I'm gonna lower the car, and don't forget to tighten the Torx from down here, by the way. If you did the same as me, don't forget to tighten your Torx for the fan. But now I'm gonna lower the car and finish off at the top. Okay, so I lower the car now. You can see the coolant is settled somewhere around there at the moment. It should really be down here, but it is very hot still. I'm gonna let the car cool down, take it for a test drive, and then again, well, I'm gonna let it cool down after the test drive, and then see where that settles. If it's still above the max, then I'm going to drain a little bit to bring it down to the max. Apart from that, all is left to do now is get this back on, and that's pretty much it. You can double check if there's any leaks around the hoses here, but there's nothing, no wetness, so it's all good in general. So that's pretty much it as far as changing the radiator and topping out the coolant. I hope this video helps. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.